Okay, Castle, welcome back to Europe and welcome back to Poland a year after your last tour. So, how is the tour in Europe going so far? Because few concerts are behind you. How was it?
It's been going really good. We started off the tour with two festival dates, and it was a great way to start in Copenhagen at Heavy Days. And then our label, Van Records, had a festival in Oberhausen, and that was great. We kind of toured down into the south in Italy and went far into the east, further than we've gone yet. So Croatia and then Hungary and Romania as well. And now we're back in Poland. So yeah.
And you are back in Zielona Góra. You played here last year, but in a different club. So I would like to ask you about your memories concerning regarding that gig. Something interesting happened. How was the gig then? How did you like it here in Zielona Góra?
Loved the fans, loved the energy. Always a great reception of metalheads headbanging with us, and just the camaraderie that we had with the people here was obviously enough to bring us back. So we're happy to be here.
Yeah, we always think back on shows in different ways, but one of the ways that is like, sometimes cities really are like, they really rock, and sometimes they're just a little stiff. And Zelona Gora rocked,
Yes.
so we had a good time, and it was like, it just was our kind of crowd, people they were up for the show, and so that's the kind of place that we look forward to going back, and so here we are.
And the last time when you guys played in Zielona Góra, you were just before releasing your latest album, Under Siege. Now this album is on the market for a while, so I would like to ask you, how was it received by the metal maniacs all around the world?
I think it's gone well, like it's we've been touring that record for about a year now. It actually came out after we left Europe. It came out like a couple weeks after the last European tour. So this is our first time touring with that album out here. So we're finding people are knowing the songs and looking forward to hearing them live, and yeah, I think it's gone really well.
Yeah, it's awesome to have three albums with us on tour, and to play the songs again for the fans. And yeah, we're really proud of that album. And we also have a new 7-inch that we just released a few weeks ago to have on tour with us, a single called Dead Hand Hexagram. And it's backed with a reprise of Be My Ghost, which is on Under Siege as well.
But we'll talk about the 7-inch a little bit later. Now I would like to ask you about the feedback of Under Siege, but this time about the reviews. I don't know if you read the reviews of your recordings or not, but if yes, what is the best thing that you have read in the reviews of Under Siege, and what is the most absurd thing that you have noticed in such reviews?
Well, I mean, I always take any review with a grain of salt. We have a saying in English, and that means I read into it a little bit and try to kind of read between the lines, But I think the coolest thing that you can, for me, to read is something like when someone understands what you're trying to do with the music, and they kind of see behind it, and give their opinion on it, but also kind of they're hitting the nail on the head, so to speak. And some people don't get what we're doing, and that's fine. Like, I don't think everybody has to get it at a deep level or anything, but it is very cool to read when someone really does get it, and they can kind of see how we're putting the music together, or maybe what's going on in that writing process, and if we're accomplishing it, which I think we are, especially on that record. We're really happy with the way it turned out. So yeah, I think the reviews have been generally really good, like for us, and absurd reviews. There's
Or
always
maybe not
something.
the whole reviews, but some excerpts of those
Yeah,
reviews that were absurd,
I
something
don't
that
know.
journalists said, or
Maybe there's something I don't remember exact, but sometimes the comparisons, are I just don't understand maybe, but nothing really comes exactly to mind. I don't know. How about you?
The only thing that comes to mind is when people comment on the length of the album as if that has something to do with anything.
Liz was just mentioning that people bring up the length of the record as if that is a negative, but I mean, our record is somewhere around 35 minutes, but we pack a lot into that. There's a lot of riffs, a lot of movements in the music, and yeah, for us, it's like when it's done, and I don't look at the length and go, oh, it should be this or that or whatever. But and maybe we could keep going with it, but we feel like when it's ready, and we don't want to hold on to it until it's like old or something. We just want to put it out there and stay on the road. So, but people bring that up often. I don't know. Okay. I've never bought a record and go, oh, it's only, I mean, Slayer, Rain and Blood. How long is that? Yeah. Like 29 minutes, something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But some bands have songs that are like 8 minutes long, so you're gonna have a 50 or 60-minute record. Our songs are like 4 minutes long, so just the nature of the beast. But yeah.
Okay, now getting back to 7-inch Dead Hand Hexagram, I wanted to ask you why to record a single not the whole year after releasing an album?
The reason behind that is like that song was supposed to be on Under Siege, and at the time when we finished the record and we listened to it as a record, that like something wasn't quite right, and we decided that it was that song because we weren't particularly happy with the vocals and the mix. So instead of going in and redoing it and then trying to force it on the record, we took it off and we put the record. It seemed to work better without it on there, and we had a chance to go back up and work with Billy Anderson in November, and we had in between a tour, we had a time to go and redo the vocals, remix the song, and at that time we had an idea to do "Be My Ghost," which is originally on Under Siege, as this different version, and that's the way it was originally written. It was like it's kind of like slow melodic guitar piece, this really haunting vocal line. It was really simplistic, and then we built it up into this more rock metal song on the record. So we put that together, and then we thought that we would aim to put out the 7-inch for the European tour to have something new. Yeah. That was really the motive behind it. Because we're writing a new record, but it's not going to be ready till the end of the year at the earliest. So, it's good to just kind of keep putting something out there.
I buy that. So,
Okay.
But we were talking about some absurd excerpts of the reviews. Maybe this question might sound absurd for you, but I'll give it a try. So people listening to your new song, Dead Hand Hexagram, may think that you are going departing from the gloomy doom atmosphere into more, I don't know, classic hard rock sounds. What do you think about that?
Well, I don't think people really review 7 inches too much. I've only seen a couple reviews for it, and they were really, really good. And I think that the one review in particular said that it was kind of adding to the sound of Castle rather than moving in a new direction. It was kind of, and I agree with that. It's kind of like our sound is pretty, not all over the place, but it's more wide open than some other bands. And that was a song, like when we were writing, we try to do different things deliberately. Like, I think we were listening to some old Judas Priest and some Queensryche and stuff like this. And we had the drum beat, do-do-da-ba, and we were kind of like fooling around with that drum beat. And that's how the song came together, really. And it wasn't like, let's set out to do some really different thing. It was just more like, it just happened, and we put it together. It was one of the first songs we've ever done where the vocals were written really quickly, like almost like, I remember Liz, when we were demoing that song, she just went off and did it, and that was phonetically, so to speak. Funny we should bring that up, but it was more sounds, and we kind of took that and worked with those sounds and made lyrics from it. So it was a very different way that we did a song, and I think we just like to push ourselves to try different things to see if they work, you know.
And I have also read that you have prepared recently a cover song of Alice Cooper, Second Coming. Yeah, so I would like to ask you, what does Alice Cooper means as an artist for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, to me, Alice Cooper's always, he's always done his thing, and I can respect an artist that has stayed true to his craft and what he wants to convey through his music, and he's always had great rock songs, and especially that album in particular is really great to listen to, and that's an overlooked piece that we really found was a great song, and we had interest in it, to interpret it through our own style. It was just something that was like, oh, that's awesome. Let's, showcase that part because everyone knows that album. It's,
Yeah, I think that's the important part for sure. Is like we felt like we could say something by doing that song. I thought we could add something to it, and I think we did. Without saying that the Alice Cooper song is imperfect in any way. I think that we added some rhythmic differences, and we added a little bit of melodies that weren't there, and I felt like we kind of brought that song into the realm of Castle. We were just listening to it, and I kind of heard how we could do it, and it was just as innocent as that. It wasn't like, oh, we want to like showcase Alice Cooper as a big influence or something. It was just, this is the song we should do, and we have like a whole list of songs like that, and we hope one day to do a whole record, of reinterpreting people's music and kind of bringing it into what we do, to see if it would work. But, between the idea and actually doing it is pretty far, but the Alice Cooper thing happened, and I was really happy with the way it turned out,
The best part about 7 Inches is that we get an opportunity to do something like fun and maybe more like stretch creatively and try different things and have that as something collectible and fun to put out on tour and for our fans, and just always releasing things and actually keeping in the studio, which is another part of that.
Listening to your music, I get the impression that you guys would do very well in the 70s with the style that you play. So I have a question, a little bit tricky one. Imagine that you guys are brought in time into the 70s, and you can pick 3 of the 70s band that you can play a gig with. So what kind of bands would it be?
Well, this is easy for me because it's like basically my 3 favorite bands, which would be Sabbath, Motorhead, and Thin Lizzy. And so
That's awesome.
yeah, I would like to play on that bill, sure. Whether Castle would fit, I have no idea, but I'll be there. Yeah.
And how about you, Elizabeth?
Oh, me, jeez.
Liz loves being put on the spot.
I know. This is almost like my weakness is listing things. I don't think my brain really works like that, but
Grand Funk.
I know.
So you can pick just one if 3 are too difficult.
I can pick Liz's easier than she can because I know what she likes.
He's like Grand Funk Railroad. That's the master 3-piece I love, and I honestly, I know that's like one of my favorite 3-piece bands. Oh my god, I can't. I just can't do it. I'm sorry, I can't list.
So you're gonna go with the Grand Funk Railroad Castle bill.
Yeah, that would be
two band bill, I
that
guess.
would be awesome.
Okay,
I'll do a 90-minute set.
Good. The last question of the interview will be easier. What are your plans after you'll come back from the tour?
It's still pretty busy for us with shows. Like we have a festival in Utah that we're playing, and then like a 1-week tour, and then we're about to announce another tour sometime in the next week in August, in the U.S. for like 2 or 3 weeks. Small tours, but it'll keep us busy a little bit, but mostly writing. You know, that's our plan, is to write and finish the next record. So.